It is another edition of Litter Media Live. Good afternoon. I'm Dan Ramey. To my left, I have Hannah Crago. She is with the Ross County Junior Fair Board, social media officer. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay. Also, Cameron Namofsky, and he is with the Junior Fair Board. And that guy on the far side, you met him last year. That is Ryan Klein. He is the OSU Extension 4-H Extension educator for our kids here in Ross County. We're going to talk about the Junior Fair Queen and King contest, also the Junior Fair night events that are going to be taking place. You'll be able to follow along with the information on the scroller up ahead, but we'll hear from everybody in just a moment right after this from our sponsor, Kingston National Bank. Well, we've had our introductions. Now let's get into the meat of everything here today. I'm going to start off with Hannah because you reached out to me and said, let's talk about this stuff. You got a May 15th deadline coming up, so that's why we want to talk about this stuff, right?
Yeah. So we have 4 different events that happen on Junior Fair night, which is the Tuesday of the fair, which is the lip sync contest, the outhouse racing, the the barnyard race,
And the pie auction.
and the apple pie auction.
Have you been involved with these events prior to this year?
My club has only done the outhouse race and the lip sync contest, but we've never made it to the fair for lip sync.
I do want to talk about the outhouse race. We'll get to that in just a bit. Now, of course, Cameron, you have been around the Ross County Fair your entire life, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
Watching your older siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Junior Fair night is a special night, is it not?
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah. What stands out to you most about Junior Fair night?
Probably just the people. They're always in like a great mood. Everybody's always out there having a great time. The lip sync gets them going. The outhouse race gets them even more excited.
Yeah. Now, in your capacity as an educator, this was your first fair in 2023, but or 2022.
Yes.
But you have participated in the fair before, right?
Yes. I never participated in Junior Fair night as a participant, but when I was on Junior Fair board, I had the opportunity to get involved and do a variety of different things. But it's a great night to, as both someone who used to be active on Junior Fair board and someone who is now, just to see the way that our community gives back to not only our Junior Fair organization, but these kids and all the other kids that are part of 4-H, FFA, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. Really, all of these organizations benefit from this one night of kind of fun that we all get to have at the fair.
Yeah. And you have it early enough in the week where you can have that fun, and then it's down to business. You're working the rest of the week, right?
Yeah, I mean, these kids work. It's pretty hard going. They're working nonstop up until once we start our sales, it kind of slows down. They may disagree on that one, but they get to kind of have that one moment of kind of like, here's all that we've worked towards and kind of how we can kind of accomplish. And then they kind of get to push through the rest of the fair. But it really builds up to that night. Even for us, lots of kids have shows on Monday and Tuesday. And then kind of Wednesday for the fair overall, we kind of close out. But it's before the sales, of course.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity.
Now, all the kids have responsibilities on the board. Hannah, as you mentioned earlier, social media officer. Is that something new this year, or has this been a position that was created before?
It's been created before. Yes, we wanted to do a lot of revamping kind of to our advertisement this year, so that's a big change.
So when we see pictures posted on the fair website and Facebook and everything, it's probably coming from you, right?
Just the Junior Fair board. There's a different for the 4-H extension.
Got you there. That's right. Got to keep them in line. Now, the King and Queen contest, this is going to be on the Sunday of the fair, and August 6th, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. So you're on the committee for
Yes, I am.
the contest. What can we expect this year?
Well, one of the newest things we've done is we've introduced scholarships for the king, queen, and the attendants. and we've decided on $4,000 total, $1,000 for the king and the queen, $500 for the first attendant, $250 for the second attendant, $150 for the third attendant, and $100 for the fourth attendant.
I got to think that's going to boost entries.
Hopefully, that's the plan.
Because when that money is available, especially scholarship money, it becomes big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ryan, where did you have input on making this happen?
Oh, I mean, it was really the kids' idea to kind of move forward. Of course, we get to have, perspective. But I really think it is a good addition to the contest. I think we've seen numbers of maybe queen competition stay pretty level, but really over the past few years, our king's contest has kind of wavered. And that's where I think, in addition to a lot of these kids who put in a ton of time on Junior Fair Board, the king being on court is a completely different experience. And I can both speak a little bit from experience, but especially from seeing it last year. They're not only going to shows to work as a Junior Fair Board member in lots of cases, or just as a participant, but then they're also having to work as a royalty member. And so it does take a lot of time. And so we really want to honor, those kids taking their time out, not only to do the whole process of an interview and going through those kind of steps to get onto court, but all the hard work that they're going to have to do during the fair. And so we all really supported the idea of having some prize money as a way to, even if you're not going on to college or you're a sophomore or a junior and not really there yet, that we're able to, provide some compensation for your work that you're putting in as a royalty member.
And Ryan, Cameron, what are the requirements for someone to be a contestant?
So the first requirement is you have to be a participant in one of the Junior Fair groups/clubs. Now this includes 4-H, FFA, FCCLA, Girl Scouts, and Boy Scouts. You also have to be 16 to 18 years old as of January 1st. You also have to have at least a 2.0 GPA and be in good academic standing with your schools. You also have to be able to show up to the Junior Fair shows and as well as go to other counties' fairs after our own.
And you have to be willing to put on a crown or a tiara and a sash, right?
In front of everybody else. Yeah.
Hannah, are you looking at participating in the contest?
Yeah, I think that it would be really cool. This is my senior year, so I'll be going to school this fall for college. So I'm still debating a little bit, but I think that the award money is a really cool thing and that hopefully it will change other people's minds too.
Yeah, and Cameron, we've seen other Nomofsky names up there is it being on the committee, are you allowed to participate?
I am, but I'm currently not old enough because I'm 15 as of January 1st.
Good answer.
Easy way out. That age is
and that gives a lot of responsibility on your shoulders then. You got to make sure it runs smoothly, right? All right, I wanted to talk about the outhouse races because I have seen these at other fairs. I've never seen it like it's done here at the Ross County Fair. What is that experience like for you guys?
So as a club, I know that when you participate, you start at the beginning of the year if you want to be in the outhouse, and you have to build your own. So you start from scratch. Most people use bicycle tires, and the club builds their own outhouse, and they're themed. The participants dress up. So there's lots of funny themes. That's one of the things that makes it so good. And then there's a preliminary contest, which is in the summer. And that's kind of just a safety check so that we can make sure the individual riding inside of the outhouse will be okay. And they race them then, and then you get to take it to the fair and compete for the prize.
Generally, the rider is someone that probably weighs less than 100 pounds, is tiny in stature, doesn't add weight to the vehicle itself. But you've got to be on your toes when you're on the outside running this, because if you're not steering straight, you have the risk of having what is called an accident.
Yes.
Have you also participated, Cam, in the outhouse race?
Not in the outhouse race or the lip sync for that matter, but I plan on participating in one of them by at least my senior year.
Yeah. You haven't lived until you've done it. Mm-hmm. So I have had to dodge a few and just shooting video of the contest. It's a lot of fun. you mentioned the lip sync contest. Again, May 15th is the deadline for all of these Junior Fair Night events. Anything special about the lip sync contest that you recall from last year that you'd like to share for this experience for 2023?
Personally,
Go ahead.
Personally, I thought all the clubs that did lip sync last year did an amazing job, and I actually loved all of them. And it's just such a shame that most of them get cut at preliminaries. Now, we don't get to see all of them at the fair where there's more people, but they were all great last year.
Yeah. There's a lot of time and choreography and everything for this, isn't it?
Yeah, they start planning it. So you submit your songs and stuff, and then you find out after May 15th what songs you get for your thing. But you start making your dance and whatnot, and the theme for this year is Disney. So they've already started sending stuff in, I assume, to Ryan.
Yeah, so I am one of the chairs of the lip sync committee, quote unquote. I'm kind of within my position within, being an advisor and all of that. I get to help a lot pretty heavily with Junior Fair Night. But yeah, lip sync theme is Disney classics, so Disney movies and songs before the year 2000. We have, I think, the kids have come together. We make changes every year to different events. There's slight, rule changes, just different things that maybe are brought up, or we receive feedback at the end of each fair, and so are brought in those. But really, I mean, like Cameron said, you don't get to see. I mean, last year there were 16 lip syncs that we had to whittle down to 5, and so that does get really tough. Especially, are we at 10 at the fair? 5. Okay. I wanted to make sure. I was going to say, once you see them all, they're hard to they're all different songs. Like Hannah said, they submit a song, and one person gets picked with that song. And so even if you do a mix of 3 songs, and Cameron decides to have one of them, I can't have that song at all, even if it's in my mix. So it is really competitive, and it's first come, first serve. So a lot of people on March 1st, which is when they opened, submitted on March 1st at midnight when it opened up. So that part is really cool, and you get to see lots of times, even when I haven't been in 4-H, but have watched and come back and been a patron of Junior Fair Night. You watch kids grow up, especially I think for our community. You may not know someone, but you might have seen them in the lip sync every year, or in the apple pie, selling their apple pie. Those types of things I think are just kind of special things. Like you mentioned, the outhouse race in Ross County is hard to beat, but I really think Junior Fair Night overall is an experience that most fairs and most people don't get to have unless they're able to come to Ross County and really, really be there.
Yeah, you have to experience it to understand what we're talking about. I have seen some rather elaborate builds for the outhouse race. I've also seen elaborate costumes and scene setting and everything. Is there a budget limit that is set for any of these events?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. Typically, 4-H clubs are in it for the profit, and FFA chapters aren't necessarily that's what they're spending their money on. But there are some clubs who it is a competition still. We recognize best decorated, and we recognize the winner. So there are some who either one of those is good for them, so they're gonna go all out.
And there's no limit when it comes to the apple pie auction. And I know that because the former owner, God rest his soul, of our parent company, Litter Propane, Bob Litter, was always the top bidder, it seemed.
And yes, and very much, even when I was on Junior Fair Board, it was that way. And so there is no limit, and the apple pie is really how we get to do anything. And Bob supported us so well for many years, and there's no way to say how much we appreciate it, both as a board, but even as a community, the way that support comes back. Because not only are these kids, you're helping support them do different activities and get ready for shows, and do all the kind of things that you see them do on the fairgrounds, but you're building the next leaders of our communities, the future, through these organizations. And so really that's how, when people always ask, where can we support, how can we support, not only is the apple pie a fun way to do that, but it's our way to kind of, be able to, highlight what we've spent a whole year on, and people to see that.
And the delectable insides of the apple pie. Thank you to Hirsch Fruit Farm.
Yes,
they
absolutely.
are always stepping up to the plate, aren't they?
Yes. And we love working with Hirsch's. We love that we have a community, a local supplier for that. Not every county is so lucky to have someone so close that is willing to partner on them for, some years, 25 apple pies. And so that can be a lot of apples depending on, how many times they want to test it out. And, of course, they only get one for the night of, but we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look now at more for the Junior Fair Queen and Kings contest. Longtime MC, Todd Holdren, stepped back. Has Dan continued on as well? Or did they both walk out together?
They both kind of decided to not pull back. They're still involved in a variety of other things. We get to work with Dan on events throughout the week, like our Fair for All, which we partner with the Pioneer School. But yeah, so they did kind of step back together, kind of as a unit, kind of how they were on many a Junior Fair night.
Yeah, because they were also the play-by-play voices for the races and everything too. So it was a blast just to hear them for 40-something years together. Yeah. That's incredible. Once again, you guys don't know what 40 years is like. Ryan doesn't know what 40 years is like. But is there anything that we have missed you wanted to make sure people knew?
I think that the Barnyards Buddies race is something that's new, so we want to continue to have younger 4-H members participate in our Junior Fair night, and this is one of the activities that we're kind of pushing for them to do, and it's a newer thing, but it's changing, and we're making it better from last year, so just continue to participate in that because we want to see more young participants in the night.
What's the age bracket for the Barnyard Buddies?
There is no real age bracket.
Okay.
Ideally, the target age is our younger audience. We want to them to feel like they're included in Junior Fair night. They can bake an apple pie, or they can be the writer, as you mentioned, in an outhouse, but have a place where it's all on them. And we have a lot of organizations like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, 4-H that target, our 8 to 12-year-olds, let's say, that maybe are, not running in the outhouse race yet, but are getting there, and how can we keep them engaged in that night? And so, like Hannah said, our barnyard races were kind of our idea to kind of make sure that they had a place to shine on that night.
I know you're communicating to all the guidance counselors and the 4-H leaders and all as all your deadlines and everything. But once again, if you're watching and seeing this for the first time, May 15th is the deadline for all of the Junior Fair stuff so that you can have the prelims and then show up on Junior Fair night to see it all come together.
Yep, prelims are in July, so you'll be hearing from any of our Junior Fair board members about whether you're in the outhouse race or when things are. We send out letters and emails and all sorts of things once we get past May 15th. So it's kind of a race until then, and then it's kind of a race until July, and then we're in August. So,
one thing I completely blew my mind and forgot about was to mention that Hannah is from Greenfield McLean High School, and Cameron is from Zane Trace High School. Do you have projects that you're taking for the fair? You're working on things right now? Ladies first.
Yes, I show market and breeding goats for the fair, and that's all I'm taking this year, which is a change because I take a lot usually.
Yeah. Because you're going to be a working member, right?
Yeah, so. And this is my last year, so I wanted to focus more on just my goats before I used to show rabbits, and I took pigs to Highland County through FFA.
Okay. And Cameron?
Like I used to be more heavily involved in the projects, but in recent years, I started only doing goats just to kind of cut back on the work needed so that I can focus more on the fair itself and my goats.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. It gives you a chance to say, I'm on task. I know what's going on and not distracted by too many animals. Well, thank you for coming in today and talking about this. And folks, the Junior Fair Board, a very hard-working fair board. I'm glad you're wearing the maroon jackets or coats today or shirts, whichever the case may be. But you'll be able to see them identified by uniform when they're at the fairgrounds.
Yep, plenty of shirts. They may even say you're behind a Junior Fair board member. You never know.
Yeah, because you never know. As a part of the community, help these kids do what they do, especially help them on sale day. That's really huge. Again, August 5th through the 12th is the fair this year. And again, May 15th is your deadline. For the long litany of people we have here, Ryan, Cameron, and Hannah, I'm Dan Ramey. Thanks for watching Litter Media Live.